and welcome to HCS Connects. I'm Kelly Worrell with Hampton City Schools. Today we have a special guest with us, Miss Betsy McAllister, who has a dual role, one with Hampton City Schools and one with the Institute of Aerospace. So welcome, Betsy, to HCS Connects.
Here.
Well, we're so excited to have you here, not only to learn more about your position, because you kind of have a split position,
Right.
but also a huge community event that's coming up. But let's first start with, tell us your exact title.
Yeah, I'm the STEM Teacher Specialist with Hampton City Schools, and so I see it as my job to work with teachers and students and to just be a support to them in whatever way I can. And then also I am the Hampton City Schools Educator in Residence at the National Institute of Aerospace. And there I'm working in the capacity of creating educational materials that use STEM best practices. Sometimes they're videos, sometimes they're lessons. They're all different kinds of things that we create. And so, I've kind of got a foot in each world. And what my job is, as I see it, is to try to bridge those two worlds. We've got this wonderful resource in NASA Langley Research Center in our backyard.
We do.
So let's use those resources. So, as much as I can, I try to create opportunities where I can share those resources with teachers and students.
Well, and you share lots of opportunities, because I've had the pleasure of, seeing those opportunities, kind of being there with you sometimes to highlight them. But I know there's Brave Hearts for our young girls that you have your hands in. I've seen you at our gardens, at our different schools, our teachers and PD. So tell us a little bit about those different projects. Oh, oysters, I've seen you out in the water with kids at Fort Monroe and
Right.
also at Sandy Bottom. So
Yeah.
you're everywhere.
I don't know about that, but I think my passion is environmental education, and it's just a piece of STEM education. I think kind of people have an idea that STEM education is just science, technology, engineering, and math, and it's really integrating the disciplines in an authentic way that is engaging to kids, so that they're not acting like scientists and engineers. They are scientists and engineers, and there's a big difference. So, if an opportunity presents itself, or if one doesn't present itself, and I say, hey, we need to be, working in this area, I just see that, that's a great opportunity to pull teachers and students in. So we have been working with oysters. You mentioned that for a number of years. We, several years ago, and I think it was 2015, I co-wrote a grant with our former science department chair, and we were awarded $375,000, and we created a Hampton Environmental Literacy Program, and part of that was teaching teachers how to raise oysters and how to use those experiences with students to talk about random sampling, to talk about data collection, and then to also, in addition to teaching those science and engineering skills, what an incredible way for students to have impact in their own backyard. So I think that as of maybe this year, we'd placed about 96,000 oysters,
Wow.
just Hampton City School students.
That is very cool.
In local waterways. And so I'm hoping this year we'll get over 100,000. So that would be very exciting.
And about how many classes or how many teachers work with you on that project?
We've, over the period of years, we've kind of dwindled a little bit, and our funding expired. So this year we have 9 teachers working.
Okay.
With classes, and so we're trying to build that back up. I've organized some partnerships with Tidewater Oyster Gardeners Association, and they're going to do some training for us pro bono. And I wrote a proposal to the Hampton Clean City Commission, and they're going to provide a little bit of funding. So we were able to replace oyster equipment that was kind of on its last leg and purchase oyster spat babies. And
I would say thank you for that.
Yeah, right, yeah. And
I would not know what the name of a baby oyster is.
Right. And then one of the big pieces that, we've had teachers for a number of years that have raised oysters, but until recently, they would just give them to the Chesapeake Bay Foundation and when they were grown, and the kids never really saw their efforts come to fruition.
Right.
So now we actually established a reef with Joint Force Langley, Fort Eustis, off the waterways there in the back river, and we also have a reef that we use that's in the Elizabeth Lake neighborhood. So we actually take our kids on field trips to put the oysters on the reef.
And I've seen that, and that was
That's
an
really
amazing
cool.
experience for our students.
Really cool.
It was really cool experience. That was a couple years ago. I've seen you all there. I've seen you at Sandy Bottom, and then also out at Fort Monroe. We weren't doing oysters at Fort Monroe, but looking at different, what's going on at Fort Monroe as far as, I think, sea level, different organisms, and so forth.
Right. We did some, with our 5th grade and 6th grade, and then any class, really. We, like to get out. We've got equipment that we were able to purchase as a result of that grant opportunity to get kids out to, it's amazing to me how many of our students live in Hampton but have never been to the beach, and certainly haven't been to the beach looking at it from a scientific lens. And so having those kids come out and do water quality studies, collect that data,
Right.
to seine and pull up organisms and look at them and talk about, okay, well, how are these organisms adapted to the environment that they live in, and why are they important species for us here? All of those things are just, kids love that, and
They do.
it's real world. They are invested, they are engaged. It's amazing.
What gives them a glimpse? Like you said,
Yeah.
real world is, why am I learning what am I learning, and how can I apply that as an adult for some kind of passion I have?
Exactly, and we hope that these young people that we, graduate. We're going to graduate, and we have been graduating amazing students. We'd love for them to stay in our community. So connecting them to this community, that's one way to do that. And, so they're becoming connected, and they feel protective of this environment, and hopefully they'll come back and continue to contribute.
Well, and what is great about this community, and they always say Hampton is from the sea to the stars. So talk a little bit about NASA, because it's
Right.
not just about oysters and our waterways. We're also looking at what is your partnership with NASA, and how are you? I've seen NASA Eclipse come in from our teachers, phenomenal work, things our students have been doing. So tell us a little bit about that.
Right. Well, one of the things that I've worked on, had the privilege of working on, is the NASA Eclipse Spotlight Design Challenge, and basically that is a design challenge where students become the creators of content, and that's really what we want. It is a real live experience where they take on a science misconception, and they debunk that misconception through an engaging video that's geared toward a different audience. So it could be geared toward 3rd through 5th graders, it could be geared toward middle school students. But they become the creators of that content, and who better to engage with younger kids than these students? They know how to they know how to make it lively and fun, and so I've had the opportunity to work with now Kilgore Gifted Center, some students there. I've had the opportunity to engage with Media Arts Design Academy at Bethel High School, and so that's been a great experience. Another experience that I'm working on is with NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. I have a colleague that works up there that reached out to me and said, hey, I'm doing some stuff on using smartphone sensors in the classroom to collect data. And I said, I'm in. So we worked with 8th grade teachers last year, and we couldn't use smartphones, but they used sensors on their Chromebooks, and they became part of a citizen science project called Silent Earth. But in order for them to do that, they had to learn about all the specific concepts of sound that they would need to know. So it gave them a real purpose. And then they went out in their community with their Chromebooks, their sensors, and they were trying to find the quietest location within Hampton City School, within Hampton, or it could have been wherever they were traveling. It may have been where they went on spring break or whatever. But so it introduced a whole nother aspect of sound, that of sound pollution. So kids really enjoyed that, and we're hoping to expand that next year with a lesson on magnetism. So, that's kind of exciting.
Do you know how to put me back in time so I can become a student again and go through these experiences? Because what great opportunities for our young people.
Yeah.
I mean, middle school is my heart, and so I'm listening to all this middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. You talk about 5th grade, and it's so exciting, to be out in the water with the oysters, or doing these NASA eclipses where I get to teach my peers. That was not school when I went to school.
Right. Well, it's it is. It's problem-based instruction, it's project-based instruction, and it's something that, can excite kids, hopefully, and that's really what we want. We want them to buy in.
Well, and it's not just exciting kids, it's also exciting our teachers, our professionals, because if you've been teaching, it changes constantly.
Yes.
Content changes, our strategies changes, best practices are always developing.
Yeah.
And so you do a lot of things with staff as far as professional development to get them excited as well. So tell us a little bit about what you've done with staff.
We've had a number of training opportunities. I've done some environmental education training. I brought in a group that worked a couple summers ago with some of our teachers on sustainable energy solutions, and just recently this past summer brought in NASA educators to train our 3rd grade teachers on utilizing a program that we're trying to implement in Hampton City Schools called GLOBE, and that stands for Global Learning and Observations to Benefit the Environment, and it's something that NASA has backed. NOAA is a supporter, the National Science Foundation. So our teachers now receive training on how to use an elementary storybook to kind of integrate the science and language arts that are related around Earth systems. Because if you look at the 3rd grade science curriculum, it's largely talking about Earth systems. And so this really sets the tone. They'll actually implement this in a couple of weeks. And so I worked with Dr. Cito, and now Sherry Drake, and Elisa Ennis, and Craig Freeman, and Dr. Richardson, and our collaborators over at NASA. We had wonderful teachers that wrote curriculum for us, Billy Holbrooks, Erica Butler, and Zandria Butts. And so, it was just a great opportunity to pull everybody together, and I'm excited to see what will come from that. The kids will actually be engaged in several investigations and using that, integrating literacy using a science book. So we're excited to see where that goes, and then also build that up into additional grade levels. So,
well, I'll tell you what, we are very fortunate that at the beginning you said, well, I've kind of got a foot in each door. So we're lucky that you got 2 feet and they're in each door, because you're bringing wonderful opportunities to our students and our staff in Hampton City Schools. And what I'd like to wrap up with one big opportunity that's coming up is a very large STEM community event. That's just in a few weeks.
Right.
And you've had a big part of bringing the city of Hampton and Hampton City Schools and the city of Newport News and Newport News Public Schools, as well as other partners together for this event for our middle school students, our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Tell us
loving
about
those middle schoolers.
Loving those middle schoolers. Tell us about this big community event that's coming our way soon.
Yeah, it's called the STEM STEM Exploration Community Event, and it's going to be held at Brooks Crossing Innovation and Opportunity Center. It'll be on November 6th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then if we have bad weather, it will be on the 20th at the same time frame in the same location. But what we're doing is, we wanted to bring together Newport News and Hampton Public Schools behind the launch of the upcoming launch of the James Webb Space Telescope. It's supposed to launch on December 18th, and this is by far the most advanced telescope that we have ever put into space, and it's a engineering phenomenon. So it's kind of to celebrate that, but also just to reach out to students and provide information about STEM careers, we'll have exhibitors there outside that'll be physically distanced to, lead kids and our students in hands-on activities and investigations. We hope to have a couple of, I know we've got a couple of NASA folks that are gonna come and sign posters for people, so we're excited about that. And then students can register on site to participate in iLab activities. There'll be 6 different stations going on in the Brooks Crossing iLab, and one of those will be a wood cutting activity. One will be a sewing project that they'll do. They'll also have a chance to do some virtual reality. They're going to have a straw rocket race. So there's lots of different kinds of things that'll be going on inside as well. So we'd love to have our Hampton City Schools students, middle school students and their families come and join us on that day. I've also reached out to our academies and some of our high school students to come and lend a hand on that day, because they are the near peers and they are wonderful at working with younger students, and this gives them the opportunity to develop some of those skills that we want our students to develop in graduating students that meet the criteria of Portrait of a Graduate for Hampton City Schools. So,
well, very exciting. And again, that's for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
6th, 7th, and 8th grade and their families.
And their families, so they need to come with the parent or guardian.
Right.
And they're going to have outside exhibits.
Right.
And you said, what were some of the exhibits that might be there?
We have for sure right now, a couple that I just off the top of my head, the Virginia Living Museum will be there. They'll have their astronomer there. We'll have the Virginia Aquarium there. We're going to have the Mariners Museum Park there. NASA obviously will be there. Virginia Space Grant Consortium will be there. We'll have some food trucks there. So it should be a really fun day, I think, for everybody involved, and hopefully an educational one as well. So.
And it's free.
It is absolutely
free.
free. Yeah, we'll have some things that'll be raffled off, for students, and so yeah, I think it'll be a great opportunity. I really, I'm excited about the opportunity to reach out and collaborate with some of our partners on the peninsula, and so this has really provided that opportunity to do that. And there's some wonderful folks out there doing great things as far as STEM education for our students.
It's also showing our young people, our students, again, what a wealth of knowledge that Hampton has and our surrounding cities to come back here and be invested in the community. Right. I mean, you listed so many that are just outside vendors that are all great careers in regards to STEM.
Absolutely.
And the environment.
Absolutely.
So again, it's the STEM Exploration Community Day. 6th through 8th grade students and their families. Right. Saturday, November 6th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. you said?
10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
And there is a rain date of Saturday, November 20th.
Same time, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
And
we're going to have great weather on the 6th.
Well, it has rained enough lately in October that it's going to be beautiful in November. That's where I'm heading. But there is information on our Hampton City Schools website. Yes. If anyone needs to get additional information, I know that we've put things out on social media as well.
Absolutely, and they can contact me through Hampton City Schools email, and I think my phone number's on a flyer, so absolutely reach out. Happy to answer any questions that I can.
Well, we are so excited you were here with us today, and really it made me think, do I want to go back and be a student? Do I want to be a teacher again, because I used to be a teacher? Do I want to live in your shoes? Like, how exciting, all of those things coming together.
It's fun. It really is fun. Well, it's been a blessing, so yes.
Well, thank you for being here.
And I just, thank you, Kelly, and I just have to say, for Hampton City Schools, we have the most amazing staff, and I just have to give a shout out to teachers, because
we do.
They are doing amazing things with our kids. They are every day showing up. It just makes my heart so happy.
Pre-pandemic, pandemic, and current ever-changing world pandemic, we have got amazing teachers that are doing the right things for students.
Yeah, absolutely. So if I can do anything for them, I hope they'll reach out to me, because that's what I'm here for.
Well, thank you again for being here today.
Yep.
And thank you for joining us on HCS Connects. And remember, it's easy to stay connected.